Welcome to our today's episode of Policycast series. Today, we are diving into the landmark case on online gaming, the Supreme Court's verdict in the Gamescraft case. The judgment brings closure to years of litigation involving online gaming platforms, fantasy sports operators, casinos, and betting businesses. What makes it interesting is that the Supreme Court is not just dealing with tax demands, but a much more fundamental question: what exactly is being taxed in online gaming? To help us break this down and understand its implications, we have with us Mr. Karan Kakkar today. Let's get started. The Gamescraft judgment is described as landmark judgment for the online gaming industry. Could you briefly explain what the dispute was all about and why it became such a significant GST controversy, Karan?
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me. To start with, this litigation was never merely about one company or, merely about one show cause notice. At its core, the dispute revolved around the fundamental question that is, what exactly is being supplied when a player participates in an online gaming involving stakes. So that is
Yes.
what we need to remember. So historically, most online gaming platforms treated themselves to be facilitation service providers and discharge 18% GST on the commission and the platform fee. However, the tax department had a different view. It argued that such platforms were not merely supplying the platform or the facilitation services, they were also supplying the actionable claims in nature of betting and gambling. Therefore, the GST should be levied on the entire entry money or the contest money, what we talk about, which went into the stake when the player played that online money game. So the difference in interpretation resulted in the massive, demands of what we see, which has reached to the Supreme Court level, into million or million and tens of thousands of crores across the industry. So what makes the judgment particularly significant is that the Supreme Court was required to examine not only GST provisions, but at larger constitutional and the prudential concepts such as betting, gambling, games of skill versus game of chance, and to the extent Parliament's, taxing powers under the GST. So, this makes it a very, very significant judgment which has come by, and the ruling has the implications far beyond Gamescraft, and effectively defines the GST framework applicable to the entire gaming ecosystem. So that's what
Okay.
it is. This is why it is so relevant. Landmark judgment, what we say.
Mhm. So that really sets the stage. So, at its core, this wasn't just about tax rates, but about how we legally understand the entire transactions. So, now one of the most debated aspects of the judgment is the court's approach towards betting and gambling. Has the Supreme Court changed the traditional game of skill versus game of chance debate?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I would say, the Supreme Court has, not really overturned the traditional jurisprudence, around game of skill versus game of chance. Rather, it has shifted the lens through which the issue is examined for GST purposes. So historically, most litigation centered around whether an activity was game of skill or game of chance. That test still continues to remain relevant from a regulatory standpoint because every state has different laws and different regulations to monitor the online gaming platforms and the companies. However, in this case, Supreme Court had placed greater emphasis on underlying economic structure of the transaction, specifically whether the money or money worth is being staked and whether the outcome remains uncertain at the time of placing the stakes. So that was the main core principle and the emphasis what the Supreme Court laid. So relying on the earlier decisions, the Supreme Court also observed that betting and gambling constitute the distinct economic activity. So accordingly, once money and money worth is staked on a certain outcome, the transaction acquired the character of betting and gambling, irrespective of whether the underlying activity involves skill or chance. So therefore, it is, one of the most conceptual developments emerging from the judgment and may influence future regulatory and taxation debates in the digital gaming ecosystem. So that's what,
Okay.
I can, tell about the approach of Supreme Court in this, trying to cover the point of, a traditional game versus game of skill versus game of chance.
Understood. So now, this is where things get particularly interesting because it touches upon a debate that has existed for decades. Let's now turn to what many would call the most critical issue from a tax exposure perspective. There was another major issue before the Supreme Court. It was the impact of the 2023 amendments. Why was the prospective versus retrospective debate so critical for the industry?
Okay, I'll give you a little background from a GST standpoint. There had been major amendments in 2023, wherein the GST was clearly told, and the new entry was brought in called online money gaming, and the scope of the taxable activities got very widened, and the valuations were defined on basis of the player when they're depositing the money and playing the game. So arguably, this is the most consequential issue from the tax exposure standpoint, because it went to the very foundation of the large GST demands raised before this amendment happened in October 23. So before the amendments, most online gaming industry, which I said earlier also, were charging 18%, considering themselves to be merely a platform or a facilitation service providers. So, however, the tax authorities, were always of the view that any amount which is staked by the players while playing this game should be liable to GST on the entirety and not only the platform fee or the facilitation fee. So, coming these amendments in 23, specifically the scope got expanded, the valuation were defined to include the total deposits which were made by the players, and on the entire GST was levied at the 28%. So the Supreme Court kind of, I would say, accepted the revenues view, which means that the court did not treat 2023 amendments as a clean break from the past. Rather, it viewed them as clarifying and reinforcing the existing GST framework.
Okay.
So which brings to the which is very important, because it means past show cause notices or the litigation which has been happening on the period which is historical to this amendment of October 23 will not simply fall off because the law got amended later. It is not something which is prospective. So which means this law, as per the government, always remained even, and this was only clarifying kind of change which happened in October 23 onwards. So for the industry, this is a major development because it keeps pre-amendment exposure very much alive, because of this judgment coming in now. So that is where I would want to sum up this question, which is very critical, on prospective versus retrospective debate which is going on in the industry.
Yeah, so that's a big takeaway for the industry, Karan. This isn't just about the future, but also reshaping how the past will now be evaluated. So my next question to you is, beyond online gaming, what implications could the Gamescraft judgment have for the GST treatment of emerging technology-driven and platform-based business models?
Sure, that's very important, very interesting one, because if you see, the digital economy is evolving much faster than the legislation. So whether it's online gaming, fintech platforms, digital marketplaces, tokenized assets, or AI-driven platforms, the challenge which would remain is the same as to what and how these transactions should be characterized for tax purposes. So what the Supreme Court has reinforced is that GST consequences cannot be determined merely by the labels how the businesses assigned to themselves. Instead, the authorities must examine the true substance of the transaction, identify what actually is being supplied, and determine real consideration flowing between the parties. And this is primarily to look at from the GST lens. So the judgment also highlights a very, very important criteria of valuation and the transaction structuring in platform-based models. As digital ecosystems become more complex and involve multiple participants, revenue sharing arrangements and virtual assets, questions around the nature and the value of supply are likely to become far more prominent than before. So which means, any industry or the companies, into all these areas of virtual assets or marketplaces or tokenized platforms or AI platforms have to be far more diligent and proactive in forming their tax position and the judgments around the valuations and the applicability of tax on that. So from a policy perspective also, this ruling demonstrates that emerging industries may require specific legislative intervention rather than attempting to fit entirely new business models into traditional tax concepts. So, if as already seen in this online gaming, a similar debate could also arise in several other technology-driven sectors in future. So therefore, this is a very important judgment which lays down the significant principles for taxing the next generation of digital businesses. So that is what I could put word around the question what you asked me regarding the emerging technology driven platforms.
So clearly this judgment goes well beyond gaming. It sets guiding principles for how we might tax the next wave of digital business models. That was a very insightful discussion, Karan. Thanks for joining us today. The Gamescraft judgment is clearly much more than a ruling for online gaming sector. It is clear that the Gamescraft judgment is not just about online gaming, but about how we interpret and tax evolving digital business models in India. We will continue to track how this unfolds. Until next time, thank you for tuning into the Policycast series.